Why aren't our faith communities involved in these issues? And you all know why. Because the word sex does not exist in the faith community. But yet, that's how we all got here. Every single one of us got here because of those three letters. And so, I'm just going to have you do the next. So the Pew Institute did a study to find out, specifically in the Black community, what influences, what can the church be an influencer? And you can tell by these statistics, the answer to that is yes. In the Black community, the church remains a very major influence, and we as African Americans continue to go to church and spend our time and give our money, and yet we don't have the churches as they were with the civil rights movement. They are not involved in the health of their parishioners. Let's go on. Here we are. You can see your own community, that the number of Black infants, the number of people who are minority and suffering from a baby dying before the first birthday is still much too high for African Americans, and specifically African Americans here in Shelby County. If we go on. So how can the faith-based community become involved? First, by putting children first. Children have to be number one. Secondly, we should want each child to have the best possible future there is. And third, who wants to grow up saying, I want to live in poverty? Anybody here? Was that your goal? To grow up and live in poverty? Absolutely not. And so we have to help our children understand those things that are a clear path to a life of poverty. We go on, please. What are those paths? One of them is, you can see your stats here, one of them is not getting proper prenatal care early on. Because that then means even if the baby makes it, it could be that that child is going to have major problems within the first year. The child makes it past the first year, but you are still spending half, if not more, of your money making sure the child continues to live and has any type of quality life. Medical bills are a wonderful way to end up with a life of poverty. Let's go on. So, here are the things that faith communities need to do. When it comes to the teen pregnancy rate, it's okay to talk about sex and to have a sex education program. Yes, abstinence can be what we all aspire to have. But the reality is abstinence is not the only thing that young people practice. And so we have to be aware of what else is there. And you may be sitting there saying, oh, that will never happen. Well, while at the National Campaign to Prevent Teen and Unplanned Pregnancy, guess what? I worked with the National Association of Evangelicals, and they did create a book that took a pastor from abstinence all the way through to the very last choice being, here are the list of contraceptives, and here's how they work. We have to do this. We have to do it. If you're really serious about infant mortality, make sure that mom is ready to have the baby and wants to have the baby. That's how you get serious. Second, when it comes to low birth weight rates and making sure those get up, many, particularly our black churches, have health committees. Is that health committee helping all the new moms, making sure they eat right? Is that health committee visiting with the moms to make sure that they've got perhaps frozen meals for the first couple of weeks they're home? Who's visiting and giving mom some relief in those first couple of weeks? Our health committees can do more than having fried chicken dinners and lots of cake. And then finally, when it comes to the infant mortality rate, the same is true. The health ministry committee and then prayer ministry. Prayer ministry, terribly important, particularly for the mom who has lost a child. Not the prayer just at the funeral, but the prayer after the funeral, and for the days and weeks and months that follow. That mom is still hurting, and that is part of our duty for all of us who are in this fight on infant mortality. You can go on by these two next slides because this is what you all have that. So when a baby is born, here's what happens. All faiths have some type of celebration. In Judaism, there's circumcision. They also do a naming service or ceremony. That's for the girls that are born within Judaism. Baptisms, most Christian faiths participate in some type of baptisms or blessing ceremony. And then for Islam, there are multiple practices, including sacrifice, circumcisions, and even head shaving. So let's go to the next. But this is what the young woman experiences. Attitudes, it's happy versus sad. Happy being, oh, I'm happy for you because you're married to your spouse. I'm sad because, well, oh, you're pregnant. There's very little celebration. There's often disgust. There more oftenly is no welcoming, but a shunning. We push them out. They don't belong here anymore. We may give a baby shower for the one that's married. We give nothing for the one who isn't. Their parents must be so proud of you. They should have listened to us. They should have listened to their parents, is what is gossiped all around the church. We have to do better. It's not just the pastor. It's every single one of us who have a home church. We should be demanding our churches do more. So, next slide. Our faith communities are the focus of strong families. We look to our pastors as trusted messengers. We expect our churches to have forgiveness, and we expect that our churches are a safe space for us to share our feelings, to be guided, and to be loved. Next. So here are some concrete ways that you can get this done. Create time and space, and create a concrete space for teens or young adults to talk. Have leaders, youth leaders, young adult leaders who are willing to have some of these tough conversations. Are you going to have all the answers? Absolutely not. Are you going to feel uneasy when the young person says, well, Ms. Means, what did you do? Well, it's not about what I did. It's about what you're faced with, okay? But those questions do come up, and you have to be prepared for them. Let's go to the next. Create an environment where people can be candid. Just as Dr. Anthony said, she hears a lot from her patients. Well, so do pastors. Both Dr. Anthony and your pastor are trusted individuals that a person, a young couple, a young girl, a young man who just found out he's going to be a father should feel comfortable going to and pouring their heart out and saying, "What do I do?" and getting a response, not a reprimand, but a response. Next. Listen first. As each of the two presenters before me noted, the ACEs scoring tells you a lot about what is going on with that individual. But a pastor's not going to have that. But what a pastor does have is 2 ears. What those of you who are on health committees have, 2 ears. You can shut the mouth, open the ears, and listen wholeheartedly to what these young people are saying. They are crying out for help, and we all need to be there for them. Balance the instruction with compassion. It's good, it's always good to have some evidence-based instruction, some science to share. But if there's not compassion, if there's not real concern, you're doing more harm than good. Next. Lead with personal vulnerability. Yes, for that person who says, "What did you do, Miss Means?" I was faced with those issues too, and I didn't always make the right choice. That's the reason I'm here for you, to help guide you and help you into making the best choice. Point to concrete resources. That means, yes, every church needs to know, where is the nearest health center? Where are the clinics that are in the neighborhood and how far out they are? Where is a Planned Parenthood? If you need to talk to a medical professional, where are the drugstores? You need to know what is in your community and what is around so that you can be a good resource, not just come here, hon, and we'll pray with you. Praying is very important, but the resources in the community can be equally so. Help teens control their futures. Most teens who get pregnant while in high school do not finish high school. That's just it. Guess what? Most teens who lay down with their boyfriend and think that's going to keep them, their boyfriend, he doesn't stick around. It's those kinds of statements you need to make to our teens and our young adults, giving up what God has given you, giving up that beautiful gift of your body to someone who has put you down and made you feel small. It is not the way to start an adult life. But if we as the church can't say these things without hesitation, if we can't say these things with our hearts and convince these young people the right way to go, why are we so shocked that they continue with this behavior? So in conclusion, so you won't even have to use your 1 minute. In conclusion, my suggestion is show love and compassion and forgiveness, each one of us. It's not just the pastor's responsibility. It's the pastors, it's the elders, it's the deacons, it's the choir, it's the ushers. It's just you, the member, sitting in the pew, showing love and compassion. Churches should not shy away from talking about sex. It is still a gift that God gave us. There is a right way and a wrong way to use it. Let's make that conversation biblically based. You think it can't be done. Yes. Again, with the national campaign, with Esperanza, which is the Latino Evangelical Church Association for the nation, we created a 13-part series, all biblically based, for young people to say, here is why you abstain. Here is how you honor the gift that God has given you. All messages should be biblically based. Mentor young mothers and their families to ensure a healthy baby. And healthy baby is the key. When we started fighting infant mortality in Indianapolis, one of our large businesses loaned us their marketing department. We didn't have a name yet. And the name for our project, we kept struggling with, well, do we call it, we're against black infant mortality? What was it? We ended up the Indianapolis Campaign for Healthy Babies. Why? Because we were in Indianapolis. It was a campaign. Most campaigns are started because you plan to what? You plan to win. It was not against anything. It was for. And what were we for? Healthy babies. And so make sure the language you're using always conveys what your goal is and how you're going to get there. And that's the reason I'm saying mentor young people for healthy babies. Tour the neighborhood and know the services that are available. Keep social and health services listed. As the missions director at Tabernacle, I have a list of all of the services that are available in our immediate area of Mapleton Fall Creek neighborhood. Every single service, health, food, help with rent, transportation, everything, and I keep it updated. And so it is there for all of the people who come into our soup kitchen, who come in for benevolence, the 1,700 kids that are a part of our sports ministry. I mean, we have people coming and going constantly, and that information is available to them. And finally, involve men and women of the church as mentors. We often forget the men, and the men are extremely important in delivering the message and being part of the receiver of the messages when women are pregnant. I thank you very much, and I gave you my contact information on the last slide.